If you are wondering about the status of A.D. Mitchell coming into Georgia's game with Georgia Tech and maybe even beyond with the LSU game and so forth, here's what Kirby had to say on Monday during the press conference. We'll get him later today on Tuesday. He said A.D. was similar last week as he's been previous weeks. I mean, he did run. He had a little few higher speeds and he did some individual drills. He didn't do teamwork, 11 on 11 teamwork. That's the goal, and that's the goal each week to get him out there and do 11-11 and take some snaps and some reps, excuse me, is what he said. I don't think we can really expect AD to play against Georgia Tech, and it may not be that there's an expectation for him to play before a New Year's Six game because, excuse me, a college football playoff semifinal because he's not practicing in a way that is conducive to playing. It looked like he was really getting there when he was playing in the Auburn game earlier this year. But and of course, I don't see practices. They close them completely to the media. We don't know these things, but the proof is in the pudding. I did not see him in Lexington that I can recall. I can't remember if we asked about that or not or what. It's been such a blur since the game in Lexington, but I think it's just it's about him getting healthy, getting ready to go for the season that will be at post Christmas. You still have some time before the LSU game. You've got what 10 days, 11 days, whatever it is. So maybe this week he could work his way into things. But when Kirby's talking to us, he's talking to us about what has happened in the recent past. So the most recent practice at that point would have been the Thursday practice that Georgia had, which is that is a very light practice. He AD or whoever to get moving forward would really need to go on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Those are your normal kind of go at it practice days. Thursdays certainly not Fridays. So that's the question: is when can Georgia get their most explosive receiver back because he's barely played this year. This is a guy that made a critical play, a game-winning play against Alabama in Indianapolis, and his season really didn't get started rolling until the Tennessee game in 2021. So there's still a lot left to play for sure. And Georgia needs A.D. Mitchell out there. I'm just saying that he's not had a catch since I think South South Carolina. Let me look while we're talking. But it's been a long time since he's been out there playing in a legitimate way, and you can't. He's got 5 receptions for 69 yards, a touchdown. His most recent game that he caught a ball was Samford. So the Oregon game, he was 4 of 65, 4 for 65 with a touchdown. I mean, he does help Georgia quite a bit. I'm just saying, the reality is it just doesn't look like he's playing anytime soon. Now, the question is, will that change after the Monday, Tuesday practice of this week going into Georgia Tech? Um, you know, you kept hearing a year ago this time about George Pickens getting ready, getting more ready. It seems like AD has been in a holding pattern for some time. So, what does that mean for everybody else? It just means that the guys who are playing receiver are going to continue to play receiver, and it's not going to change a lot. Against Kentucky, Tate Ratledge, the starting right guard, did not play for the Dogs either. Here's what Kirby had to say on Monday. I might get some of these names wrong, because I am not a physician or a medical person in any way. He said Tate had a shoulder subluxation. Again, he could probably have gone in the game. It's one of those things. He checked out before the game last week, and we weren't comfortable putting him in there, and we wanted to give Devin Willock a chance to play. So, you know, Georgia, like everyone right now, is moving through a season where injuries are a thing, and that's important considering what's moving forward here. I mean, this is a Georgia program that is going to challenge for the national championship, and very possibly will be the number one seed. And if you are that, you would like to have all of your guys. It's just that it's hard to be healthy this time of year. I mean, we know Nolan Smith is gone for the season. That was confirmed by Kirby on Monday. We know that AD has been having this issue. There was a moment in time in this season where Georgia was missing a lot of players. The stretch from Kent State to really kind of Florida, but it hit them all at once at Missouri with Small Monday going out, Jalen Carter going out. They did not have A.D. Mitchell. And you just started going down guys. It gets tough out there. So this is a team that's deep. I don't know if you can say that about a lot of other teams, but when you look at Michigan right now, they're having issues at running back. But Georgia's just going to have to get through this. And I don't know what that means in terms of the long-term trajectory for AD. Um, it didn't seem that bad earlier this year. I mean, I just my, saying that out loud. I don't have any, useful knowledge of what his particular ailment is. I do remember seeing an apparatus on his wrist, his hand. So he's had a couple of different things to deal with all at once. Not unlike my hair. I do bathe. I don't know what's going on with my hair right now, but for Georgia, for the most part, they are pretty healthy. I forgot, during that Missouri game is definitely when Stetson was his most banged up. I mean, he really took a lot of shots in that game, and so it does show when you're not quite yourself what it will be. The other good thing, if you want to say that, is we're entering a time here where there's going to be games basically played indoors, so the elements are not going to be an issue, and that is annoying when you're hurt and playing in elements. We're going to see a little bit perhaps of that on Saturday against the Jackets, with some rain. I love the rain. I love hanging out in the rain with all the expensive photography gear that I've got, but it's just what it is. It's part of the sport, and we'll see. But I think if George, I think it seems to me just the way that Kirby and them are talking that AD being back for Tech is just pretty unlikely. But we'll see. Against LSU, probably more likely. But this really should be probably an expectation from the fans of him playing in the first round of the semifinals. There will be a lot made of it going into that. We've been through this now a few times, and that is a long stretch between the SEC championship game and the semifinal of the playoffs. I mean, you're talking about 4 weeks, and to put that into perspective, that's as far away from now as the Florida game was. So that I don't know if people remember the Florida game, but it was a long time ago, and it feels like it was a long time ago, and it was only 4 games ago. So this is a team that's pretty healthy, generally speaking. Let's not act like they're not pretty healthy, because they are. But one of their biggest weapons, and they've not been playing with him the entire season, much like George Pickens last year. One of their biggest weapons is not out there. And, Stetson and AD have been, Stetson and AD are tight. You can see that off the field. And I just think that the hope is that you get Mitchell going into the semifinals. This also, this affects his future too. So you don't want to get too flippant with running a guy out there that's not fully ready. It seems like Tate Ratledge is going to be okay. And we know for sure what we suspected, which is that, Nolan's going to be out probably until he has to start doing work for the NFL. But we'll just see, right? I mean, he's definitely not coming back to play at Georgia. So y'all, we've got a Saturday of seniors that and Nolan is a special one of them, but he will not ever be able to play in the red and black again, which is too bad for him. And he'll have a successful NFL career, but it's hard to Nolan has really been important to Georgia. But hopefully the Dogs will get AD back soon. We'll see. It looks like we'll definitely see Tate Ratledge out there soon.